Hi and welcome to this hopefully short-ish video. Welcome to Derry basically just released the first episode, which was absolutely marvelous. Peak home cinema if you ask me. And I did a lot of custom music and sound design work for the whole trailer, campaign, teaser, whatever you want to call it. Fun thing about this one was that it was some previous custom work that got scratched, which got then brought up again, but needed even more custom work on top of it. So it was kind of like, it was a long process and a long journey. So the whole thing basically revolves around this Tiny Tim vocal.
Happiness is everywhere, fear's just in your head, in your head, in your...
Which is basically processed and made into this weird, scary vibe thing. So this whole thing, this in blue and this one green, is basically the old work. That's the old custom. And this is the old stuff.
Happiness is everywhere, fear's just in your head, in your head.
Some of it might sound a bit weird because it's sidechained to the dialogue and stuff like that, because usually not in trailers you don't have anything to work with. They usually cut the trailer to a bunch of different music and sound design to make it all fit together. But here they had already cut some of the trailer, which I have movie. Can't show any of that. It's basically just a bunch of notes and clips and stuff like that. But they actually cut this whole thing, this old custom. They already cut the trailer to it, but they needed more on top of it, which is then down here, which is all out of place because this is two videos, so there's no musical tempo or timing or anything. So if you actually zoom in on, for example, the percussion stuff here, nothing is timed at all to our tempo. It's just all made in to fit to the final work, basically. So the extra custom on top of this stuff is basically this. If we run quickly through it, we have an underlying drone-ish ambient layer. We have a bunch of dialogue, some introductions about characters and the story and so on. And that basically goes on until we get into some synth pulses. Well, I don't know if you would call this synth pulse, but would basically just, synth markers, basically. Again, creating edit points, creating atmosphere, and with our percussion up here, bunch of ticks and stuff, my own sampled stuff, with a bunch of reverb on it because, atmosphere is everything. Then we get into the trailer. Kind of drops down, and in the trailer here we get a more mellow pace. Actually, we get a bunch of more melodic orchestral stuff, which is not by me, it's by Dan over at Diversion Trailer Music, who kind of was the publisher and the talk between the editor and me on this one. So I did this, and then he did some of the mellow orchestral stuff. I think that was actually because this had all been approved and stems was sent off, and then I guess they needed more, and it was easier with the time differences and so on. I guess that's why I never asked, really. But after that more mellow middle piece of the trailer, we get into this, which is just a bunch of Well, it's all basically built up on just really ambient and soundscapey, vibey sounds. There's not like, you know, in typical trailers, there's always a big hit and a big brom and a big synth bend and stuff. Nothing of that here, which is what made this so fun and special. We have these. It's basically a bunch of mangled woodwinds and strings, kind of almost more score-like than actually trailer music-like. Some string effects. These are more acting as actually making edit points to work to. And then we have this never-ending string rises, which is my absolute favorite thing. I put these into almost everything I do in this particular part of my music world when it comes to trailers and stuff. These long building strings is just, oh god. If I could choose a sound to live within, it would be this. Does that make me into a psychopath? Probably, but I'll stand by my words. And then we have this underlying layer. It's basically the same as before, modulated, going through it, building, and we have more percussion on top. Which basically just introduces more and more and more to kind of build the tension and build up the trailer up to the big yeehaw, or what we're gonna call it. And then actually some of the more interesting stuff, because as mentioned before, everything is revolving around, if it wasn't muted, this vocal, right? And in the end we really wanted this to really have this extra layer of stretched out big long vocal, which can be hard to nail, because vocals are weird, and when you start stretching them out and cutting them up, they sound very unnatural, which the result is also very long, weird and unnatural. But and you can hear the edit in every one, which doesn't really work, but when you put it together with everything, they kind of disappear and mellow out, so it kind of sounds like, Jesus, this session is utter chaos. So when it's put into everything, and actually with this one too, why is this not? Thank you. Then suddenly everything works perfectly right. And the last thing in this trailer, which was really fun, is this marvelous piece of sound, which is basically Divergence is sent over some sounds of these, you know, plasticky clown nose beeps, or I don't know what to call it, and kind of mangled that and made it into something weird and made it sound like this. Which is always great fun, to make stuff sound like you're absolutely dying. So that's basically the custom on top of the custom for the trailer for Welcome to Derry. Very fun project. Love doing stuff like this that is weird and just ambient and moody, and it's great. So hope you got anything out of it. If you didn't, sad for you, you wasted your time. If you did, good times. Let me know if there's anything you want to know within this whole weird trailer music, video game music, film music industry that I'm a part of. If not, all good, I'll do something at some point on this channel. Have a very nice day. Bye.